Hey guys, we're back on Film Duels. Sorry for the long hiatus, but we are here and we're going to bring you a really special film duel this week with four awesome competitors and some really great questions revolving around some great movies. So, first I'm going to introduce, he's been on the show pretty much every single episode, either as a fact checker or as a competitor. It's Film Buff.
Oh, that's me.
And
I'm sorry.
there's Brett.
Hey guys.
Boo-oh.
Oh yeah.
And Andrew, who won the Spider-Man film duel.
You can call me Grand Inquisitor.
Go watch my mediocre movies.
And then there's Hayden, who hasn't been on this show. So let's give him a warm welcome.
Fellow people.
Is Hayden our biggest celebrity we've ever gotten?
I think so.
Yes, indeed.
Who's Hayden?
He's famous.
He's the guy that's talking right now.
Yes.
No, I know who he is, but why is he famous?
Because of the Star Wars prequels, he was Anakin.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
Yes,
No,
I
actually,
was Anakin Skywalker, but
He's famous because he was in Frozen 2, even better.
Oh, fuck, dude, that movie's the
don't
shit.
forget about my masterpieces of One Page Life, Me and Myself, and a couple of other films I've done.
And he's also in a YouTube video announcing Toy Story 3. That's
Fuck, dude, I love that trailer.
Okay. Anyway, we're already off track. We haven't even started.
Yeah,
All right. So, you guys ready to start the first question?
Tell the audience how this shit works.
Okay, so basically how this works is we have four questions, four competitors, and each of our competitors are going to get a minute 30 seconds to give us a pitch, and then they're each going to have 2 minutes to rebuttal against the other competitors. So let's get started.
Is it rebuttal or rebuke?
I have
Doesn't
no
matter.
idea. All right, so first question. In honor of Lady Bird, which is currently the best movie ever made according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Toy Story 2!
What is
But
the
I'm okay with that.
Okay, so what is the best high school movie ever? And
Can I go last?
yeah, who wants to
Can
start?
I go second to last? I should go first since I'm new to this thing.
All right, cool.
Yeah, go first.
So,
Go first.
All right, so
and you've got 90
ironically-
seconds.
All right. Ironically, the film I choose for this pick is actually Lady Bird. What a coincidence. What makes about Lady Bird very special, even though I just saw it recently, is that it really is probably one of the few films, not just high school films in general, but I think it's one of the few films that reflects on such a big, important stage of life, that being of a teenager, and it's done in high school, and it's done so beautifully poetic, and it's done naturally real thanks to its terrific directing and writing from Gret Davick, from who was my new queen, and also just beautiful performances and just scenes of laughs and tears and just the authenticity of what it was that just makes it feel like it is the definition of a high school film that took chances and made it go beyond what its criteria. And it's you don't often see that in films these days, but I'm glad that this is the first time, or at least in a while, that we see high school in a way that reflects upon a human soul or something. Oh, am I time up or something? Or
No, you can still go. You've got 15 seconds.
Anyways, I think Lady Bird is such a beautiful film. It is a film I think it does speak to a lot of high schoolers, including myself. It was a film that captured both the hardships, the excitement, and fun, and just overall of greatness of a teenager dealing with relationships and dealing with high school. And it's wonderful, and you guys should all go out and see it. Okay.
All right, cool. Great argument, Hayden.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
I'm down.
All right, cool. So, Brett, you can start whenever you're ready. You got 90 seconds.
Alright, so my choice for best high school movie is Eraserhead. No, I'm just kidding. My choice
Should've gone Speed Racer.
is Speed Racer. That would actually, you could argue it anyway.
You could argue that.
Best high school movie came out last year called Sing Straight.
Ooh.
I've never seen this movie. It's about this kid named Connor, and he's oh man, there's this girl, she's pretty hot. You know what? I'm gonna make a band, and then they make a band, and then they jam out the music, and then he gets the girl, and it's really inspiring in a lot of ways. But also, what I find the best about it is the fact that he comes in to the school in such an awkward state, in such a weird way, in such a he doesn't fit or he doesn't belong, and he doesn't have to fit in or belong to the school. A lot of movies I see are students trying to fix and adapt and evolve in their environment, and Sing Street completely disregards that and says, "No, do your own thing. Don't even care about what people think about what you're doing." And he goes off and he makes his band with this little quirky group of kids, and they have fun. And I think it shows a really great way. It shows this a long stretch of time where these kids like learned a lot about themselves through something that they loved doing, and it was their bond and their friendship that was grown, and also the relationship between this guy and this girl, and then them sticking it up to the school and showing that they mattered and that they had a voice. And I think that's really good message to show the kids. It's not the, oh, this is every single little thing that will happen in your high school and you're growing up. It's hey, you can also change and do this other thing that isn't stereotypical and make your own story for yourself.
All
So
right.
that's kind of why.
Oh, time's up. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Wait, Film Buff, you're next, right?
Film buff.
Oh no.
I think Andrew might go.
No, I was supposed to go last.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm here.
all right, your turn.
All right, you got 90 seconds whenever you're ready.
Okay, my choice is Perks of Being a Wallflower, and here's the thing with this one. It's just so meticulous, and not in the way that it's so in it, not in the way in its structure or its craftsmanship, but just in the emotions that are put into it and the feelings that are conveyed all throughout the story. You can tell that Charlie is at least some part of the writer, some part of the screenplay and the novel, and everything that's come out of this project has been projected onto him. And it's not about, every high school cliche with the with the tropes and the jocks and the cliques and the trying to fit in. Like, it is about trying to fit in at first, but it's about others letting you fit in with them and you finding your groove with others. And that's all you need. It's about acceptance. It's about love and the trials and tribulations that come with it. And that sounds cliche, but it somehow does it in a way that makes it not. And it's not about their futures or what they've done or what that will matter to them going forward in life. It's just everything that will happen kind of doesn't matter to them, because in that moment, that's what matters to them, finding who they are in that time period, in that frame of their existence is what really matters. And the way that it's structured and the way that it's directed and written and acted and just almost every aspect of it is like pretty much perfect. So that's my pitch. I don't need any more time. I'm rambling.
All right, nice. You almost ran out of time. You're 129. All right, so Andrew, you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right, cool.
All right. So my pick is probably completely different from your guys, but I picked Gus Van Sant's Elephant.
I almost did
I
that.
haven't seen it, so I can't really argue for that.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's a very artistic film that plays around a lot. It doesn't have a conventional narrative. It follows just several high school students going through a day of a school shooting, and I really like it. It's obviously set in high school, and I think it's compelling in the fact that it shows a tragic event and doesn't try to give an excuse for it. It just tries to give a really realistic interpretation of high school, which I think is very refreshing.
All right, cool. You've got 40 more seconds if you want to say anything else.
Can I start counter arguments?
Yeah, I'll start arguing.
Well,
Okay.
who wants to start the? Cause,
I do.
Okay, you got 2 minutes, and you can.
Okay, so all your choices, they kind of follow the same thing, where they all kind of romanticize high school in a way. Like, yeah, look, here's these different groups in high school. This is what they are. Here's the geeks, here's the smart kids, here's the cool kids, here's the popular kids, and here's the lame kids. They all follow the similar trend, even though they have different stories. What I like about Elephant is that I think it's the anti-high school movie. High school movies are known to have these tropes, and Elephant, well, it does have them. It relishes us in the realistic situation, and almost almost uses these cliches in the high school movie to tell you the story from a unique perspective to say, hey, kids aren't like this. This is what high school is actually like. I also like about this film that obviously it doesn't show the motivations for shooting. While some people might call this bad storytelling, I think it augments it and makes it more realistic. Kids don't spell out all their emotions sometimes. A lot of high schoolers are lonely. They don't share everything. They don't share every thoughts and feelings, and they don't always have a group of friends where they can tell everything to. I think the realism of showing that kids sometimes just keep everything inside and boil it down and bundle it up is a very refreshing take on a high school movie.
I would counter that argument that, okay, well, everything you said was that Alton was an anti-high school film. Also, in a way, that was also Heathers. Heathers was kind of in a way that was like both mocking itself of the high school films of the past, but also kind of reflects upon, everything, the issues of, suicide, depression, and anxiety, and everything about it. But it also the counterpart, like, oh, that Lady Bird, like, oh, kind of like romanticize about the relation of high school, but in the kind of the way almost with the argument of say, oh, it makes high school feel like shit. And the kind of in a way that, like, yeah, you could argue that Lady Bird does something like that, but also grounds it upon it in its reality, that it shares much of all the emotions of high school within the excitement, the frustration, the enjoyment, the loving and kind, and it's just like it elevates itself from different high school cliches and just ignores this. And it has cliches in it for sure, but it never drives away from what it is supposed to be about the realism that drives him both into Lady Bird's character and in what is style if it's presenting. If like, okay, that you're maybe a senior in high school and you wanted to accomplish something. Whereas something like, say, like maybe like Parks or Sing Street, like that's kind of like almost a little bit the norm that we sort of seen in that before. I mean, they're not all bad movies; these are all good choices. Don't get me wrong, but I think Lady Bird took that extra step and took that mile that rarely high school films you don't see that often these days.
I disagree with you completely because I think Lady Bird, from a storytelling standpoint, is incredibly lazy. When I was watching Lady Bird, all I could think of is everything I saw in that movie has done before and has been done better. The movie follows a conventional storyline of, oh yeah, I'm lame, I want to hang out with the cool kids. Let me go do that. The cool kids find out that they're not actually that cool.
Like, oh, I want to hang out.
It is true. That's literally in the movie, and she's doing it together with guys. What kind of one-dimensional character motivation is that? Is that, hey, I want to talk with guys? Oh, because high school movies never talk about parents, right? Both Sing Street, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Lady Bird all talk about the communication with parents. And in fact, I'd say it's pretty different in a pretty similar way. All of them have different struggling relationships with their families and different facets. If you boil it down to pure plot points, they're all practically the same.
Does Elephant have anything like that?
No, it doesn't, and that's why I think it's so special. Because Elephant, instead of trying to use these high school cliches to tell a conventional story of what high school is like, they don't relish in it.
Different doesn't mean good. You haven't given a reason why it's better. You just
and that is what I'm getting.
Others.
Okay, but different, I think, in this situation is good because when all your others, they're not fresh. They're the same movie. I could watch.
Well, just because
they're not the same movie. They have some of the same tropes, but what you're going to get into that in high school movies because high schools have those tropes.
Okay,
they are
but you
real.
don't
They're
have
tropes
to
for
have
a reason.
those tropes, and that's why I think Elephant's successful because it doesn't have those tropes. Okay, for example, with Lady Bird, have you guys heard of the movie The Duff?
Yeah.
Lady Bird literally.
I heard the movie was bullshit, but that doesn't matter. Like, yeah, sure. Everyone's inspiration from everything. Hell, even Elephant was probably inspiration from something. So it can't be just all. It's like a unique original.
Elephant was inspired by a true life event that involved a tragedy.
I think you're confusing what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's bad because it's done what others have done before. I'm saying it's bad because it has done things worse than other things before. That's my big problem with Lady Bird in general. And when you have a low budget movie that is critically panned like The Duff, that boils Lady Bird down to pure plot points and says,
so you're saying The
Duff
is better than Lady Bird?
I haven't seen The Duff, but I am saying, from a full storytelling standpoint, the whole point of The Duff is to relish in these high school plays.
You're saying, like, oh, yeah,
someone should argue The Duff.
Okay, I've seen The Duff, guys.
If The Duff can see what is wrong with Lady Bird, the boils down every single plot point in Lady Bird and says, wow, this is exactly what's happening in it. If a movie like The Duff can summarize and make fun of Lady Bird, then what does that say about Lady Bird?
I've seen.
Have you not heard anything about The Duff?
The Duff is really
You're
bad.
Untitled. Do you know what a Duff is?
Dumb, ugly, fat friend.
Ugly fat friend.
And Lady Bird had one. That's all I am going to say about that.
Okay.
Lady Bird relished in those character tropes. They didn't try to do what?
Wait, Brett and Film Buff, I barely heard you guys because Hayden and Andrew have been like really fighting. So,
You guys, I changed mine to the duff.
I do judge mine to the duff.
That was a masterpiece.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna fight for it.
Fucking good movies. We go fight the duff.
Our choices, we're gonna go with Duff.
Oh my god.
I can't breathe.
I'm going to talk about Sing Streets and Perks of Being a Wallflower, for example. I know it's fun to shit on Perks of Being a Wallflower, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. But, like, with Perks of Being a Wallflower, they romanticize quirkiness and social awkwardness and attempt to make it into, like...
I got Perks of Being a Wallflower. I have a few points of why I say Perks of Being a Wallflower. While it is a good film, I think, in a way, it doesn't really fundamentally explore much of all the, sentimental problems and all the sentimental, emotions that high schools go for, something like with Lady Bird or Elephant.
But it doesn't need to. That's the thing. That wasn't the goal. That wasn't the purpose. They had a purpose. They had a goal, and they succeeded in both of
outside
them.
of like maybe the three characters, a lot of the characters felt relatively flat and not much like, it's like building connection. I mean, I don't understand, but at times it definitely feels a little bit pretentious.
It's like Lady Bird.
Says the guy who just defended Lady Bird.
Like, let's talk about Lady Bird's ending for a second. What an unlikable character who didn't learn anything throughout this story.
I don't think she didn't learn anything, but I do agree she's unlikable.
She does not learn anything.
Sacramento, that's the entire point of the freaking movie! I love how I come here to defend Lady Bird.
Hold on, no, I didn't get to elaborate on that.
You said much about the
Bitch, you've had so much time.
Destroy on Brett for like a minute. So,
Sing Street's a good movie, by the way. You should
don't get me wrong, but it
I like
does
talking about
follow
Sing Street.
kind of
Don't worry, my
like
friend.
the
Okay.
story. It's like,
You ain't
follow your
getting nowhere.
dreams and be in love with the girl you want and with the music, which is like relatively creative, but it doesn't really elevate too much on those like, hey, want to boots a dream or something, and then
Sing Street is actually like kind of not that great.
Okay,
Also,
hold on.
I'd like
Guys,
to mention your whole argument for Sing Street that it doesn't elaborate on anything. That reminds me very strikingly of Lady Bird. Yeah, because it drops so many plot points throughout the movie that it doesn't bother to elaborate on. And I find it kind of funny that you're even using that argument against Sing Street.
I mean, it intentionally does so, but yeah, that's the point. It kind of does.
Intentionally does so? I disagree. I think it unintentionally does so. Like, for example,
no,
let's
because
talk
the movie is self-centered, like Lady Bird. It's so self-centered on its own goal and its own characters that it kind of forgets to elaborate on the side characters.
Okay,
Hold
that's
on.
the stupidest argument I've ever heard.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to.
Hold on,
No, I'm backing you up, man.
Wait, guys. Okay, so we've been going on for about like almost 10 minutes. So I'm gonna get Film Buff to do his rebuttal because I haven't really heard that much from him or Brett, even though Brett basically gave up at this point.
I didn't give up at this point.
Can we just give this award to Andrew? Because honestly, he gave like the best performance.
Well, hold on.
The best performance? I thought I gave the best argument.
Yeah,
Hold
you
on.
gave the best argument. I'm done. You won this round. I'm leaving.
Actually,
I yelled about Lady Bird.
okay, hold on.
Dick.
Hold on. Let's let Film Buff go for a minute or two.
Okay, Lady Bird doesn't feel real. It feels so written and it feels so fake and it's so meticulously crafted to the point of just like it takes you out of the situation. The characters don't feel like real people. They feel like characters that have been written with these great lines that Greta Gerwig really loved because they're such lines that people are going to remember. Here's the thing with Sing Street. I didn't connect to anyone is really forgettable, and other than the songs, that doesn't really have much of merit. It just kind of feels fake and like overly romanticized in every way, and it's just like the ending is also one of the worst things ever. Like they probably died when they get to London. Spoilers for Sing Street if you haven't seen Sing Street. They probably just die when they get to London because they're like not even 20 and they have nothing to live off of, so they probably literally just died as soon as they got to London, like starving off the streets. What was the other one? Elephant? I haven't seen Elephant. I have no argument. Okay, case closed.
Okay. Brett, go for a few minutes so that I can get some points for you.
You go, Brett.
Number one, Film Buff, I love you, but your entire argument made you sound like the biggest douchebag.
What?
Number two, let me fight. Number one, for Elephant, there's not much has been said at this point, but if we're talking about the essential high school movie, is if you're going to sit down and show a kid, this is how high school is like, are you going to show them Elephant? If so, you're a twisted, morbid human being.
No,
Like,
I'm a realist who wants to make sure they know what high school's actually like instead of romanticizing it so they get their broken dreams when they get older and think,
Well, you're
wow, my high
fun.
school is nuts.
Exactly.
Wow, you're
The
such
thing
an
about
ass.
Elephant is that it doesn't show you the day-by-day basis of high school. It shows you high school in the worst
In
possible
this shitty
situation
world.
you could ever be in. The
I
thing
disagree
about-
That's
because
just
if you look-
cynical.
And then
If you look at Elephant's runtime, only like a third of it's even dedicated to the shooting. The rest is elaborating on these characters that get shot and show their usual high school routine, show the ins and out of it. Actually,
Does
yeah,
it focus
I
on like?
understand that, but still, it's
Oh, I
still
thought it was about an
a
elephant.
specific event. That is, it's like, okay, so we'll give it like Perks, Lady Bird, and Sing Street all take place with characters that go through every single day high school, and Elephant doesn't. It goes through a 0.0001 percentile of a day that could possibly happen to you. That'd be terrible.
okay. Question: So are you making the argument that the movie's bad because instead of having days that are less detailed, they really dwell on the details of one day to give you an accurate depiction of what that
No,
one day would look like?
I didn't say it was bad. I'm saying we're arguing best high school movie. I'm saying it's relatable. and
Well,
that's-
you're saying it's a flaw, right? You're arguing that.
No, I'm not
that's
saying.
the
I'm not
source of
saying
Andrew,
it's a flaw.
Andrew, I have a question. Can you relate to any characters in Elephant?
Sure, I
Was
can.
Was the
Are you
question most relatable high school movie?
What? Yeah, I
No,
can
I'm
relate.
saying
to
the
characters
question
in
was
Elephant. Are
supposed
you-
to
No,
be-
no, no, guys. This
I'm
is
saying
best
the
high
question
school.
Is best high school movie.
Yeah,
That doesn't necessarily mean best crafted movie. Even it means
Yeah,
it doesn't. No.
movie
Obviously,
that
hold on, I want to talk to.
resonates the sense of
If you
high
were
school.
talking about like, say, what's the best?
And
like,
so let's say Lady Bird is probably the best when it comes to feeling the relationship between the girl and her mother.
I
The
disagree.
high school is just another plot point.
if you were talking about like, say, what's
Perks of being a wallflower is about a kid's anxiety, right?
Yeah, it's
But
not.
Sing Street directly connects to school and trying to figure out a passion and something to do at your school. It's
But we
trying to
kinda
show
seen
how
that
you
happen
bond and
before.
connect a relationship at a school. It's how you fit in at a
I
school.
disagree
It's how-
completely with that argument because Sing Street was about saying fuck the school system. We're gonna educate ourselves on our own and do something. That's why they leave high school. High school was a block
Exactly.
for them.
That's the
Not-
thing. It's still a direct response to the school. It's a high school movie, and that is a response to the school. The other two movies are responses to Charlie and his depression and him trying to find his friends. School's just a background drop, and Lady Bird's about her connecting with her mother and also the other relationships she makes in life. The school's just a backdrop. Sing Street, the school completely directly connects with the overall plot. Therefore, it is the best high school movie out of this bunch.
All right. Okay. So we went over quite a bit, but I think I've got.
I like to say one more
Okay,
thing.
go
No,
ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
you had, like,
No,
five
actually,
thousand
no. We're good.
things
We're
to say.
good. Okay. So this was a mess, guys.
Uh,
Because here's the thing with
Well,
this.
It was fun.
But here, no, it was
I probably
good.
watched 11,
but
I mean, not 11. Elephant. Maybe today. or
The
something.
problem with this, with like picking a winner here, is that with the exception of Film Buff, who no offense wasn't really in the race, Brett, Hayden, and Andrew, you guys like totally knocked each other out, and like,
Yeah.
you all
I didn't
canceled
hear an
each other
argument
out.
against
I think I'm just gonna let this to Andrew because honestly, he
But-
led the more honest and more
but
realistic
He
argument.
he did when it came to the initial rebuttal, but then you know, you like Hayden here. I don't even know who I'm leaning towards. Let me
Ooh.
think.
Do you want to give me 30 seconds and I can completely demolish any argument against me?
Yeah, so, okay, Andrew, Hayden, Brett, you all get 30 seconds. Film Buff, you're kind of out this one, but don't worry, you'll win the
Okay,
clue one anyways.
Brett's Sing Street and Hayden's Ladybird, right?
Yeah,
Alright, I'll go last.
okay. And, hold on, I'm getting
Well,
my
we know.
timer
This,
up.
you're gonna
Just-
kill
I'll
us.
go
Actually,
last,
in fact,
because I wanted
this
it.
now, Andrew. We'll
Okay,
go
okay.
there.
Okay, Hayden, you get 30 seconds starting now. I'm gonna cut you out when you're finished, when 30 seconds is up, okay?
Okay, so
Alright, go.
what is it about Lady Bird that makes it feel so authentic and makes it feel different than other high school films? It's the one that really drives a lot of one singular character as opposed to just an overdriving plot device. Whereas something like Sing Street or Elephant or Perks of Being a Wallflower. Whereas Lady Bird, it was focusing more on the character journey and about focusing on life, the excitement, and the hardships of relationships and its feelings, and it's done so beautifully poetic. It's done
Okay, time's
meticulously
up.
directed, and it's greatly written.
Alright, cool. Brett, you've got 30 seconds on the clock, starting now.
Okay, Sing Street directly ties into the school. They named their band after the school. It's a direct response to them being in school and for them trying to find their own voice that is not exactly about the school. Lady Bird, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Elephant are all about different people and their problems, and the school just happened to be a backdrop. So that being said, since the school ties in directly to the entire plot of the film, Sing Street would there be the best high school movie of all time because it is about the high school.
Okay, that's not. I mean,
Okay, can I go?
okay, yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
kill us, Andrew.
Yeah,
Lady Bird and Sing Street are both self-sticking, sucking movies for quirky kids who don't feel like they belong anywhere. People like to say, "Oh yeah, I'm quirky too," so it's relatable. Lady Bird as a character is the least compelling character ever because she's commercially designed to make quirky kids feel better about themselves. Elephant and Gus Van Sant actually cares about the characters and doesn't make them follow through with cliches because he actually wants to see their journey and give a realistic interpretation of them to the audience and give them the respect that they deserve instead of making them into a self-fulfilling, dick-sucking, fucking bundle of cliches.
Boom! Dead. I'm dead.
dude. The funny thing is, you're like 30 seconds on the dot. It's like 30:00. Okay, Brett, you're kind of out here. I think they knocked you out just because we're arguing best high school movie, not the best movie that takes place at a high school. And you were talking more about the school in general than the actual, the high school as like a theme. So for me, it was between Hayden and Andrew, and it really went back and forth. This is tough because, well, I feel like Andrew gave a really good argument. Hayden talked about how Lady Bird is the best in terms of high school and how it will affect people in high school in general, while Elephant, you argued why it might be the best movie, but
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about better movie, then probably say Elephant would take it.
But yeah, I'm gonna give this one to Hayden just by like a slight little, little bit. But both of you gave great arguments.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, shake visual hands, Andrew. That was a good argument.
Sure.
So, Breathe came out in October, and no one really saw it. But
I kind of wanted to see it though.
Oh wait,
What's Brave?
Wait, hold on. Never mind. Ignore that. I forgot.
Let's get to the question.
Okay. Wonder came out just a few weeks ago, and so we're going to ask, what is the greatest performance from an actor playing a character with a physical disability?
Can I go last?
No, Andrew, you go first.
Yeah, so who went first last time?
I did, so...
So, who wants to go first this time? Anyone
Let
but
Andrew
Hayden.
go this time.
Huh?
Andrew, let him go.
I have another quirky answer, though. I feel like for the audience at home, it'd be better if I save it for last.
Alright, let's go with Film Buff.
For the audience at home.
Wow.
It's just William watching.
Yeah, who's going to watch it, my mother?
Dude, the middle schoolers on my bus watch it.
Actually?
Yeah.
That's
Oh my God,
What's
what?
the YouTube page? I'll subscribe to that.
Alright, Film Buff. You've got 90 seconds whenever
Wait,
you're
what?
ready.
I'm going?
Yeah, you.
Crush it,
Hey.
man. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
John Hurt Elephant Man. It's iconic for a reason. He's like just brilliant in the entire movie. He brings a whole new level to the word pain in cinema. Like literally every single moment of his performance is just emotionally evocative of someone who's gone through shit and then hell and back again and made it out somehow. And it's like, it's just, I don't know how he did that in like a short movie, but David Lynch and Hopkins just made it work with him, and it's like too good. So just, yeah, that's my argument.
Alright. Brett, want to go next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
So I'm pulling a Hayden on this one. I decided to go with Jacob Tremblay from Wonder.
A Hayden?
Yeah, I said I pulled a Hayden here.
Okay.
Last time you chose Lady Bird.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so,
you go ahead.
first off, this movie absolutely blew me away. By the way, as before we get into it, I'm sure we'll get into that because I heard some people say, "Oh, it's Schmaltzy, it's manipulative." And
You disappeared.
yeah, he disappeared. I was trying.
Disagreed with this argument.
Nice. But anyways, yeah, that's besides the point. Anyways, Jacob Tremblay is wise beyond his years. The kid can act. I mean, if you saw Room, the kid I just hope hasn't been emotionally disturbed at a young age, because he hits every single emotional and dramatic beat you can. And no matter your thoughts on the movie Wonder, he was excellent as that role and that character. Because some other kids would be so muppety and so overstuffed, and maybe I don't know, overstuffed. That's weird. But a lot of kids would feel fake in that role, unauthentic, and feel like that they're trying to act like it. But scene one, every single line rang true with him. He felt authentic. He's like 10 years old, and he had to play this kid that looked like a fish going into school, and just the way that he nailed every single moment in his role is just beautiful and profound. And the thing is that it could have come off so manipulative. It could have came off so like him trying, and it could have come off even offensive, him trying to act like this kid with a facial deformity that he doesn't have in real life. But he completely like lost himself into the character, was able to bring to life this kid with all these problems at the age of 10. And this is like the best character of the disability, and this is a really important role for him to play right now in the world we live in, anyways. And so it's just very important movie, very good movie. He completely killed the role, and I think he brought a lot of levels and a lot of energy. I believe that Jacob Tremblay's performance in that movie made as good as it was. So.
All right, cool. Hayden, want to go next?
Sure.
All right, cool.
All right, so my argument is probably the one I could take on top of my head, but it's probably one of the most iconic performances ever in the film, and that is Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. Say whatever you want about the film as a whole, and yeah, it could be over sentimental, it could be, we'll have some flaws in there, but one thing that pretty much almost everyone can instantly agree on is that Tom Hanks was a revelation as Forrest Gump. He definitely portrayed this wild, quirky, non-stable person like this in a fashionable, in a humanized, and a realistic way that you really see that he doesn't really go full retard. Like, you never go full retard, like Robert Downey Jr. says in Tropic Thunder. He found that perfect balance of just the mentality of somewhat retarded, but somewhat smart and capable. And you see that just how that plays just stay consistency throughout the film, even with his love for Jenny, or they're going through Vietnam War, or hanging out with Lieutenant Dan, and you see that played out to the naturally to this character, and you really start to believe as Hanks is Forrest Gump. He's not just playing he's just playing some character. You really see him as Forrest Gump, and not just from the more the physical tackle, but more from the mental tackle. And he managed to find that perfect balance within the script and within his performance to make the character feel more authentic and feel more real and humanized by the end.
All right, nice. And Andrew, you are last.
All right. So I'm sure you guys have all heard of the movie My Left Foot, the story of Chrissy Brown.
Oh, I know.
Starring Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
So my pick for this round is Hugh O'Connor from My Left Foot with Chrissy Brown, the story of Chrissy Brown.
Ooh.
Now you guys are probably wondering, who's Hugh O'Connor, right? I don't know if you guys have seen the movie or not, but he actually played young Chrissy Brown in the movie, the kid version of who Daniel Day-Lewis played. And I'm going to keep this argument short and brief. For a child actor who was tasked with playing the role of a child version of Chrissy Brown with cerebral palsy, he somehow managed to outdo Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis. This kid gave a better performance than Daniel Day-Lewis in his own movie. Without any dialogue, with pure physical expression only, you could tell everything this kid was saying, everything he was thinking, everything he wished he could say to people if he was able to talk. All with just moving his left foot. That is pure fucking talent, and I think that's a performance that I don't think anyone else has given yet.
All right. Wow, that was a really good argument. I did not expect that. I didn't even know who Hugh O'Connor was until now.
Me either. I was like, what?
So,
But that was a ballsy choice. I'll give you that.
Who wants to start with the rebuttals? And we're going to try to keep it a little bit shorter because I know the clue ones are going to go pretty long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like to start with the rebuttals if you wouldn't mind.
Okay,
I think
cool.
what my performance has that like none of the other ones have is my Hugh O'Connor didn't have the opportunity with dialogue that all the others had. The scripts for Forrest Gump, Wonder, and the Elephant Man, all the actors had something to work with. There was a tangible emotional level to the characters that you could read on a script and adapt into a good performance. Hugh O'Connor didn't have any of that. He had to do it all emotionally and without the crutch of words of dialogue where he could portray a character. And I think that's very compelling. Arguments against Elephant Man and Wonder is that both the people who play the people with disabilities, their performances didn't really speak to any emotional level of the character, but I think what made their performances great were the makeup team that made these characters have these such believable disabilities. And I think my character didn't have, or like my actor didn't have any of those makeup crutches either. So I think that says a lot about his performance compared to others.
All right, cool.
I would argue that I want to add into your argument against Jacob Tremblay. It's like, well, yeah, he gave a relatively good performance, but I think a lot of it, again, like you said, Andrew, a lot of it has to do with the makeup, and it's like he gave like a mostly not anything of a revolutionary performance in that film. That was a film like you can definitely say, hey, oh yeah, he's like the character, but that was mostly because of the makeup team and department. It wasn't too much within the performance as something like say like Tom Hanks was, where you really see, yeah, it's still the same him and the same person, but you still really feel like he's in the sense of that character because of that sense of vulnerability, the sense of like that balance of between humanity and not retarded. He understands, he has kind of all the functioning well. Whereas as the other two with Andrews and Rollos, I haven't seen those, so I can't really fully argue against those two, even though Andrew, you gave a really good argument about, oh, well, it's mostly done through visuals, and it's mostly his performance is done with no minute of dialogue. So I can't. And I think even with Elephant Man, I couldn't really feel like, okay, yeah, Anthony Hopkins is a great actor and all, but I couldn't say, like, it's hard to believe him that you can, like, yeah, in your arguments, like, you can definitely feel pain and you can definitely feel suffering, but it wouldn't be as much as effective, probably won't be if you feel like he is just, like, a character like Hanks was in Forrest Gump, or is it just like, oh, it's just, like, another performance?
Yeah, I like that onto the Elephant Man quickly and say if he didn't have the makeup and every piece of dialogue was just performed the same way, I don't think you would believe him to have a disability. I think it was also dependent on the makeup team that made him work, that if you just took that element away, his performance would fall apart and be in shambles.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the power still comes from Kurt's performance. It's like the pain in his voice and delivery and movements in every part of like what he put on screen is what makes that character good. The makeup is, yes, amazing, but that just adds to it. That just adds to the viewers and Hopkins' character's like kind of seeing of what this guy's gone through as a visual representation. But just like if you take that away, you can still see how much he's gone through just through Hurt's performance, not through his eyes, but through his line delivery. And because like most of his face is covered for for almost the entire movie, you know what I mean? So to just have like a pure performance with with none of that visual access to what what's going on with this character, I think is really impressive. Everyone else gave good performances, but I think Hurts just elevates it.
All right, cool. Brett, do you?
I just like to talk.
Okay.
I'm gonna get Brett a chance.
Wait, Brett, do you have a counter argument by any chance?
Yeah, I haven't said a thing yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, because they all give like really
Yeah,
good
you haven't
rebuttals.
said anything.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert
Hi.
Burke.
Hi,
My
we're
name's
just in the middle
Robert Burke. I like movies.
Okay.
we're in the middle of a duel battle.
Go ahead, Brett.
Can I commentate on you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you can
No.
do like some fact checks or anything. You can be one of those guys.
All right, I'll be one of those dudes.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead,
Whose
Brett.
turn is it?
Okay, it's my turn.
Yes.
Anyways, let's do this. All right. So what are we even arguing about again? No, I'm just kidding.
Over the north?
So Wonder, the kid from Wonder, right? Jacob Tremblay. First off, we talked about how he had makeup on. I think that he would still give a very vulnerable performance and a very and a very good performance even without the makeup. It would make no sense without the makeup since the entire point of Wonder.
I mean, even then, I think with even the makeup, you
But,
could
I
probably
mean-
still get like a decent performance.
Yeah, look at the movie Room. He still played this like really
We're not talking about Room. We're talking about Strictly Wonder, and you can use that.
okay,
Yeah, you're not
Just
talking about the room.
listen to me. You guys stop interrupting my crap.
Okay, you
Okay,
graph?
anyway, so what I was saying is that Room, he gave that vulnerable performance, and I believe he brought a lot of that to the movie Wonder. A lot of that, just real kid talking like a real kid, and like feeling like a real kid, not just trying to put it in the words. It's late, but anyways,
It's late.
Yeah,
it doesn't
what I'm
sound
saying-
precocious at all. That's
What
the
I'm
thing,
hearing.
it doesn't sound precocious. If there's a Disney Channel actor that would have starred in the movie Wonder that sounds like those precocious Muppety kids, right? Not only the movie would have been awful, and it also would have been offensive to those kids who have to deal with that because they'd be like, "Oh, this kid that's like super attractive
I think
that
Owen
has
Wilson
some
should've
makeup
played,
on is now playing a person that represents me, and
should
he's
have played
acting
Incredibly
weird." But this character, right? He portrayed it so well, and that's the thing is that he's a kid. He's a kid. He's doing this, and the My Left Foot kid, right? He doesn't carry the entire movie. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay, buddy.
Got it.
Oh, do you want
all
to
he's in
Wait, why is Robert arguing?
that entire movie, and the John Hurt character is great as Elephant Man, but there's also another guy supporting him that's talking to him and stuff. This kid has to carry the entire movie.
Wait, hold on.
And the way
Julia
everyone
Roberts
else.
and Owen Wilson.
Brett, I want to let you know you've convinced me to watch Room, but you haven't convinced me to watch Wonder. Because all I'm hearing out of you is, yeah, Jacob Tremblay was great in Room, and he used that same character put into Wonder. All that's different is he had a fucking fish face. Let's talk about your claim that
Oh, guys, I think that's a knockout. I think that's a
My
knockout.
left foot. If he has failed as a child actor, the story would have fallen apart. No Daniel Day-Lewis magic can fix a bad child performance. His performance was key structurally to the entire fucking movie. The idea is just because he didn't have enough screen time as a kid from Wonder made him a less significant character, I find to be inconceivably stupid. Also, I'm gonna come down to it. How many kids do you know can give a better performance than fucking Daniel Day-Lewis? I can't think of any besides
Room.
Okay.
None.
But also,
Okay,
in
I have a
Wonder-
winner, guys.
So much savagery is going on here.
Okay.
Daniel Lewis is like
But
one
I'm
of the
saying
top
that
actors of all time, and that's
this
why.
10-year-old kid carried an entire movie about him having a facial deformity, and if he had carried it as well, it wouldn't have been the success it was. Actually, it would have sucked. He was the
Congrats,
reason
he
that
played
it
this
wasn't
role.
overly schmaltzy and sentimental because he's a good actor.
Hold on, I just want to hear.
Yeah.
I want to see Jacob Tremblay play a kid with cerebral palsy, and not the humanity that that Hugh O'Connor did. I'm
I
gonna
think
say
Owen
that
Wilson should have played.
impossible.
The thing is that he could.
Wait,
He
Good? I don't
I've-
believe it.
I've heard an.
It's like a spastic little kid who's energetic and like, yeah, I'm gonna clap and move my hands everywhere. Look at me acting. No way you could play such a minimalistic character as Chrissy Brown as a kid, confined to a wheelbarrow. Good luck with that, Jason Tremblay. Good luck with that.
Okay, I've heard enough from most of you. I just want a quick 30-second rebuttal from Hayden, but the rest of you all gave enough
You all
points.
of you
Just
shut up.
you guys,
All right,
you guys
anyways.
were blocking out Hayden, so I want to hear what he has to say.
Nobody really argued against me, and that's probably a good thing because I think that again, these other performances are relatively good. They all proven they can be really good and acted well. I mean, granted, I haven't seen My Left Foot or Elephant Man, but I think when you're talking about a character that not only plays with a character with disability very well, but also really becomes the character, Tom Hanks is definitely excels at it, and he keeps that momentum and keeps it as the heart of the film. And despite what you may ever say about Forrest Gump, but if you ever say that Tom Hanks actually gave a legitimately bad performance when he's so meticulously crafted and so meticulously care for the role, then it's almost an understatement because he really embodied Forrest Gump.
All right, okay, I've got a winner here.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Can
it's really
I,
easy
can
to
I,
buy
I,
your
I did
Facebook
some fact checking. Can I tell you the
Yeah,
fact?
okay. Before I decide the winner, Robert, you can do your stuff.
Did you know that identical twins don't have the same fingerprint?
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
So I have a winner here, even though this was significantly better than last round. I think you guys all gave really, really good arguments.
I must agree.
Brett, you gave a really good argument, but I agree with them. You gave a great argument to why Jacob Tremblay is a great actor, not to why Jacob Tremblay gave a great performance in Wonder. Because you were talking about why he's great, which he is. And if it was just on the actor alone, you'd probably win this, but it's not. So you're knocked out.
Yep.
So it's between Film Buff, Hayden, and
Andrew.
Yeah. So
Jacob the Trembling, the cocaine addict.
I'm gonna say the same thing for Film Buff. Film Buff gave no. You know what? Yeah. Film Buff, you gave a really great performance, but I think what they said about how specifically what Brett said about how Anthony Hopkins' character is just as big of a part of that movie as John Hurt's character. That point I think was really valid. So that's why, and also the makeup. That's really like a big part of why his performance was so transformative. So
I mean, it's not, okay.
Not really, but it's still good.
Yeah, it's still amazing. I'm just saying, like, for me, it was between Hayden and Andrew, but I'm gonna give this one to Andrew because he took such a weird answer, and he really gave a great argument here. So
yeah, actually, applause for you.
Yeah, that was crazy. So you knocked everyone out, but
no one really actually had a big argument against me or anything.
No, yeah, and that's why I was leaning towards you at first, but because no one really said anything against Forrest Gump. But at the same time, Andrew just gave a really good argument for.
Yeah, he actually did. We can really surprise all of us.
Yeah, so he's definitely. So right now it's Hayden 1, Andrew 1. So, I'm thinking we're gonna have a tiebreaker.
It's like my career.
In honor of 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, what is the best dark
comedy? Oh yeah, I'm gonna win this one.
It's Such a Beautiful Day by Don Hertzfeldt. It's Such a Beautiful Day is a 62-minute movie that chronicles the life of a man named Bill and his struggles dealing with his scattered psyche. What I think makes this movie so great and different is the fact that it takes a full advantage of his animated form to give some of the darkest, most twisted, but realistic comedy I've ever seen. The breakdown of this man and the images that he sees are both so hilarious and emotional at the same time that not only are you laughing along the way, you're compelled to follow Bill's story. I think it works beautifully not only as an animated film, but as a modern piece of art that is probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, hands down, with no objections.
Okay.
Nice.
So Brett's gonna go last on this one.
All right.
Who wants to go second?
I'll go next. My pick, I went with Heathers. I think Heathers is a really interesting, and I think arguably behind Lady Bird, the best high school film ever, as it managed to have its sense of its dark humor that works both on its elevation of its themes of suicide, depression, and anxiety, and self-righteousness, but also ties in within the nature of the characters, seeing how they're all kind of veritably grown and they're veritably all in high school, they would often go more rough humor and also create some more hilarious and quotable line. And it's like, chaos can kill the dinosaurs, darling, or Heather, why can you just be a friend? Why you're such a mega bitch? Or it provides on such great dark humor that also elevate into the film's overall themes and dark nature within its characters. And I think it works relatively well as a comedy as well.
All right, cool.
Sorry, what was the movie?
Heathers.
Okay.
So those are both really different but good choices. Film Buff, want to go next?
Sure.
All right, cool.
I mean, I chose Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's kind of a dark comedy, but I guess I'll
Ooh,
just
that's a
argue
really good pick.
for why it's a comedy, because like the script is one of the best of low-key the past 20 years. It's so dry and witty, but also just like Downey and Kilmer bring their best to everything. Shane Black's style goes so well with obviously the Christmas setting, but what they're able to do in this kind of Hollywood meets, like mafioso world is just genius, and the way it's structured and the way it's written is just amazing. And it's just, they're able to make finger chopping and people getting shot to death hysterical, and I don't know how, and that's just Shane Black in a nutshell. And so I guess it kind of counts as dark comedy, but yeah, it's just one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Nice.
Bill
Okay.
Buff, at first when you said Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I thought you said Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And I was wondering how that was gonna turn
I should
out.
have chosen that.
I actually like that movie a lot.
I haven't
That
seen
movie's-
Kiss Kiss Bang
that
Bang,
movie's
but I've
pretty
seen
bad.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, so that's that.
All right, so those are all three great choices. Brett, are you ready to unveil your choice?
Yeah.
Toy Story 2.
No.
Hype
Well, Toy
Nagagi.
Story 2 is really
Okay.
funny.
Ready?
Lady Bird.
Are you kidding me?
Really?
My pick is Wonder. No, I'm just kidding.
What's your real pick, damn it?
So all I have to say is, I did not hit her. I did not. I
Oh.
went with The Room. Okay, so The Room was intentionally supposed to be a straight up drama that has turned into
You're
a
done.
comedy. Therefore, it is the darkest of dark comedies. This movie involves murder. It involves sex. It involves people accused of beating each other. And yet, it is the most hysterical thing ever. And it has midnight showings of people who come to crowds and throw spoons on a movie screen whenever a spoon shows up, because it's so ridiculous in every single way imaginable. Every single line in this movie is delivered and said so poorly that it is hilarious. Every single moment in this movie is pure gold in the absolute worst way. But the darkest and weirdest things are happening. There's a scene where a woman literally says, "I have breast cancer." Everyone laughs.
Very dark.
People laugh about cancer in this movie. That is the darkest thing you can laugh about.
You
Or
can say that's a god.
people laugh because Tommy's being accused of hitting a girl. That is another thing that is like a terrible thing to laugh about, but we still do. Or we laugh whenever he commits suicide and then starts like doing inappropriate things with his blanket. But we laugh because it's all so ridiculous and dumb, but it's hilarious. It is a drama that has been turned into a comedy because of how bad it is. Therefore, it is the dark comedy. It is absolutely the dark comedy. It is the funniest out of all the movies that we have mentioned, I think, obviously. And again, the darkest things happen in this movie. Darker things happen in this movie than all the movies you guys have listed. So
Oh, okay.
All right.
Really?
Can I start the counter arguments?
I was
Okay.
gonna start the
Just because you say The Room is a dark comedy because it turns to comedy doesn't mean it was created as one. It's a drama movie, and calling it anything else is dishonest and disrespectful to Tommy Wiseau's original vision.
Yes.
Just because you find it funny, just because you find it funny doesn't mean it's a
man.
comedy. Like I think, if I found Moonlight to be fucking hilarious and every bit of part of it made me laugh like I was a 6-year-old, doesn't make Moonlight a dark comedy. You can't just change the genre of the film just because you personally found it funny.
Yeah,
If we get to The Room, you didn't even guess the plot details right. There's no murder in The Room. Were you even paying attention when you watched the movie?
I was
Something
at
makes
the
me think.
suicide
Oh! Okay. Anyways, let's go.
did I say there was a murder in the room?
Hold on. I
Yes,
want to
you
talk
did.
about It's a Beautiful Day. Not a Beautiful Day. Yeah, Beautiful Day for a second.
Sure.
While that
let's go.
film, I definitely would agree, it is a visual, beautiful film. I wouldn't even entirely consider it as a dark comedy. It's kind of like, in a way, it's
It's a
more
drama.
depressing than it is more of a straightforward dark comedy. It's not like, okay, you could argue that it's sort of like some of the bizarre things of it, if it makes you laugh, and then, okay, that's fine, but I wouldn't consider much of it as much of a dark comedy as it is more of a depressing drama about one man's life, and it's meaningless. So that's like not changing the film's nature. You can find many of the moments funny, and I have no argument of that, but calling it just almost essentially a dark comedy does not really work as like,
Okay,
oh, it's
but I disagree with
depressing
you
all
because my argument against The Room is that Tommy Wiseau never intended for it to be a comedy. Don Hertzfeld does. Every interview he's done about the movie, he said it was intended to be funny. Now, just because you found it more depressing than funny doesn't change the nature of the fact it's dark comedy. Dark comedy, by definition, takes a bad and depressing situation and makes it funny.
Oh yeah,
I
there's
watched
nothing
It's
wrong
Such
with
a
that.
Beautiful Day
Honestly,
8 times, and I can tell you there's definitely laugh out loud moments. For example, the scene where he was talking about his ancestor who dragged an autistic kid into the woods and left them there for 10 years only for him to come back later and die under the moonlight with a daisy growing under his head, or the fact that most of his early family was killed by a train. That stuff's fucking hilarious.
It is funny. It
Yes.
definitely is. But I mostly would say like this is like you could almost say it's like a depressing drama disguising itself as a dark comedy.
Well, here's the thing. I would say it's a good dark comedy because I think the reason a lot of dark comedies falter is that they focus too much on the comedy aspect of it and not enough on the story aspect of
that's
it.
kind of like what the
It's
same
such
thing
a
with
beautiful
Heather.
day. It's such a beautiful day. Not only balances the comedy aspect of it, but gives you a compelling story as well. That's what's so relevant about it. You laugh at the comedy, but you also cry at the depression of it. That's an argument I would use against Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. For
Hold
example.
on. I want to say about something. Andrew, I want
I think
to say
it
something
is
about your
a very funny
argument of
movie.
saying
I think
it's
at the same time, dramatically it falters a bit.
Okay, what do you have to say? Wait, what does Film Buff have to say against the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang argument?
I mean, a dark comedy doesn't have to be a drama. It's just a comedy that's dark, and people get shot to death and murdered, and their fingers chopped off, and it's like literally a murder mystery. So yeah.
But why is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang the best one?
Yeah.
Oh, why is it the best one? Oh yeah.
Better than like Heather's or It's a Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
Heather's versus on like. Here's the thing with Heather's. It's like it's good, but it just kind of verges on like the line of cheesiness and crosses over into it sometimes. And I don't know when it's trying to be a self parody or when it's just trying to be like a comedy or it's actually trying to take itself seriously.
Well, the thing
And the
is
characters
about
are inconsistent,
Heather's,
and the
it
structure is just
manages
weird.
to-
Some of the script doesn't land. It just feels odd. It feels dated. It's Such a Beautiful Day isn't a dark comedy. That movie's like depressing as shit.
Okay, but that's
Like-
what's funny about it. They turn a depressing situation and make it fucking hilarious. I've watched the movie 8 times. I can assure you, it's just as funny every time I watch it.
Well,
I don't
hold
know,
on.
maybe
hold
I
on.
just
I
have
want to
a
make
really
I want to make
fucked
an
up sense of
argument for
humor,
1 second.
but I think that movie is so funny. I can name moments in it that I laugh out. Fishhead.
Yeah.
the scene where his mom's coming behind him and
Sit
says,
on your moments, goddammit. Let me talk for a minute.
Oh.
"Hey man,
No
it's just
offense,
it's
but
just a
the
film.
thing is
Calm
that-
down."
With your argument of It's a Beautiful Day about how it manages to balance both darkly satirical humor and real authentic drama, that's kind of like what Heather's did in a way. That it manages to have the darker sense of humor tie in within the nature of the characters, and you start to feel a little saddened when the more serious moments happen. Like even in the scene where one of the Heathers is being able to kill herself because of or self-indulgence, trying to take so many pills. But Veronica obviously tried to go through it. It's like, hey, do you want your life just to be all perfect, like fucking like television show host or something? And she's like, no. And it's like it almost works. It's like hilarious, but at the same time, it's very dramatic that it adds into the vulnerability of Veronica Sawyer and her character as she kind of realizing, it's her life is fucked up, and then it's kind of a situation and blah 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 blah.
Okay, my problem with Heather's though, and I think this is another thing that makes it Such a Beautiful Day great. Heather's, it's gotten worse in time. Like we were just talking about how some of it seems cheesy compared to today's modern day cinema. I think as a dark comedy, getting out of touch with society, it weakens the comedy of it because then you're only catering to a certain audience that it was in the late 80s, early 90s, and not a modern day audience. Well, I think what makes Such a Beautiful Day fantastic is that it's timeless. It doesn't have any tropes of an era because it's something completely different. You don't even know when this movie takes place because all the characters come down to a bunch of stick figures. You can't tell what era they're in, anything about the time, and I think that makes it timeless. A timeless dark comedy. That is so hard to achieve that the fact that Don Hertzfeld was able to do it in 62 minutes is magnificent.
I can argue he did it better in the World Tomorrow. That was like 17 minutes.
Okay, great. We're not talking about World of Tomorrow, though. We're talking about It's Such a Beautiful Day. And the fact that...
World Tomorrow's better than Such a Beautiful Day. Fight me.
Hey guys, from whenever I was in this conversation.
Wait, Brett. Yeah, what do you have to say?
On the room. I want to discuss on the room for a second.
Yeah, because Brett hasn't really gotten a word in, so say what you need to say.
Okay, so number one, totally behind you on the following of It's Such a Beautiful Day. It's one of my favorite movies ever. But that movie, like the other two have said, that movie is not a comedy. It's
Oh my
now,
god.
now, before you go, ooh. I will say that movie can be somewhat funny in a surreal, David Lynch type of way, where you're like, what is that? Ooh.
Yeah, kind of like
That's how it works, but it's not actually aiming for any jokes. It's just
Oh,
the
okay.
environment and its richness is what makes it somewhat humorous at times. But the thing about the three movies that we have in Such a Beautiful Day is that all of our movies are funny the entire way through, and they have the same tone the entire way through. The ending of It's Such a Beautiful Day is not comedic in the slightest. It's dramatic and it's deep and it's
and
heavy.
depressing.
And depressing, exactly. And it's a great movie, but I just don't think it quite fits in this category. But after I'll say that, what I'll say about The Room is that ever since it's gotten the reception of being a dark comedy, Tommy Wiseau has said himself he thinks it's also funny and that it's a
No, he
comedy.
didn't.
Therefore,
No, he
yes,
No, he went out
He
trying
has
to go with a
directly
serious
stated
drama,
that.
and then everyone just made it as a comedy. It
yes,
doesn't really work
he's
like
accepted
that.
that.
You can't
That's
just simply change from.
Wow,
Think
Moonlight's the
about
funniest movie
how
of the year.
He
I
did
loved it
say
when they
that.
beat
He
up
did
that
say
one.
that.
entire process of him accepting the fact that he had made a comedy on accident.
He was accepting it
He
because
made a
everyone was laughing at his
He was
movie. We
trying to
forced him
go
to
for it.
That's
and
amazing.
to change his original vision. That's so fucked up.
You can have dark comedy and drama. I mean, a lot of great, like Boogie Nights. Could be
Yeah, I can't. Okay,
No.
you guys are all saying the same thing about It's Such a Beautiful Day, and I just like to say this one more time for Tristan, just in case I haven't said enough before, and I make myself very clear. Don Hertzfeldt always meant for this movie to be a comedy. If you look up It's Such a Beautiful Day, look up any of the dramas, they'll all list it as a comedy. The fact that you guys didn't find it funny for like a majority of it and found it depressing instead doesn't change the fact that he always made it to be a dark
Well, that's not a
comedy.
bad thing. It's just the saying that
Jack and
like.
Jill is supposed to be a comedy, but is it funny?
To
Okay,
Andrew's
yes,
point,
that's an argument you can make against Jack and Jill, but all you guys have said
Jack
yes,
and Jill's a masterpiece. God damn it.
I don't
You
want to
also
interfere,
found
but
the movie funny. You just didn't classify it because it was more depressing. That doesn't change the fact that it's a dark comedy. Jack and Jill might have been a dark comedy, but because it wasn't funny, that's nothing against it.
Who's counting down?
wait. Robert, are you still there?
Or the beverage.
What?
Okay. Also,
Okay, so it turns out the Sprite Zero
Bang
safe
Bang.
drink like
It's a
6
good
months
movie,
after
but
it's
once
been.
Okay, so hold on. I want to say something
Wait,
about
6 months? I have
Wait,
Sprite
guys.
He likes to make Shane Black likes to make sometimes. It's not like a direct to dark comedy. It's just like an action thriller fun movie.
What is?
Nah, it's a dark comedy.
Heather is like not very good, low key. It tries for jokes and it kind of lands in the same way as Mean Girls and Clueless. I find it more of a self parody than a dark comedy because dark things happen in it, but it's all around kind of satirical content. It's not necessarily like dark. It only turns dark in certain moments. I could maybe classify it there, but most of the movie is kind of like commenting on different things than the whole point of them committing.
That's kind of like an improv.
Heather's is not irrelevant
Okay,
to the
okay,
movie anymore.
guys.
It's not
The
relevant.
commentary of the realism in the high schoolers, even if it is cheesy and ridiculous at the time, there is kind of that weird sort of strangeness that.
Yeah, but I think it works more as like
No,
a
it's not.
political thing. It doesn't work necessarily as dark humor. It works up more as like a satirical humor.
Okay, it's cheesy
It
though.
kind of works
That's
its way to
the
both.
issue.
That
Wait, guys,
satirical and dark. at the same
I'm
time.
just gonna pause this for a minute.
Relevant.
I'm gonna pause this for a minute so that Robert and I can discuss who we think won.
Oh,
Robert.
actually, I did some fact checking. Can I just share one thing?
Yeah, and then
Yes.
go on your DM on here so that you can
Okay.
tell me.
So,
what you think.
according to AFI and Rotten Tomatoes, they both agree the greatest dark comedy of all time is Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Ooh.
I thought you were going to say Diary Won't Begin the Long Haul.
That would be
Okay.
definitely the best comedy. Or the Emoji Movie. That was two.
Did you confirm that It's Such a Beautiful Day is in fact a dark comedy? That would be helpful.
I'll tell you this. Don Hertzfeldt is a comedian through and through. If you watch his movies, from Rejected to Wisdom Teeth to any of his earlier shorts, he is a comedian, and they are intended for comedic purposes. But I do understand where they're coming from by saying that It's Such a Beautiful
Who's
Day.
making that noise?
While it has comedy in it, it is definitely more dramatic leaning than some of the other films here. But I'm also trying to, I'm trying to think of who won this because
What's
you
that
know-
making that noise?
Okay, I'm gonna just put this. I'm just gonna put this. This is the description for the film. I want to make this very clear. You can look this up yourself. It's an experimental. It's experimental black comedy. That's the same thing as dark comedy.
But it doesn't say black comedy.
What? Read the second line.
Okay. The film is divided into 3 chapters and follows the story of a stick figure man named Bill. No, that doesn't say dark comedy.
Are you reading the thing on? I just sent in the chat.
Film
It's such a
implies
beautiful day. It's an experimental black comedy drama.
It received critical acclaim and won numerous awards.
The second line, literally the second.
Oh yeah.
line.
The film divided into 3 chapters follows the story of a stick figure named
What are
Bill.
you?
That's what
You miscorrected You just not read. Look, literally, it's such a beautiful day.
You said
Experimental
second
black comedy.
sentence, not second line.
I kept saying
Okay, screw
No,
this.
you
All right,
didn't,
no,
dummy.
you got me apart, Andrew.
We have this recorded. You will know. I said second line.
Okay,
Silly people.
this
you
is
come up
really
with the winner
difficult for me.
already.
This is really difficult for me to choose who I think won, just because the thing is, I didn't really hear any substantial knocks against Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That being
I did.
said,
I said it was. I
was gonna argue.
Yeah.
yeah, but a lot of
I think we said a lot about Kiss Bang. Actually.
a lot of
Yeah,
this stuff.
we did.
We can go
Yeah,
over
we
it.
actually
again.
did
Like,
a lot.
Comedy all the way
Yeah.
through. It's an action thriller.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he won because I didn't hear a lot of arguing for Kiss Kiss Bang Bang either. I barely heard anything. So
Okay.
that's the reason why I don't know if I can pick that, even though I think like no one made like people didn't focus on that as much. They focused more on knocking Heathers or saying that The Room and It's Such a Beautiful Day aren't black comedies. So it's hard for me to pick. I'm still thinking. What do you think, Robert?
Yeah, I kind of think like they were all arguing against each other, and then they all had like 3 double-edged swords, and they all stabbed each other, and then Film Buff was like, "Oh, hi guys," and then he was okay. So yeah, I think he was the winner, winner chicken dinner.
Wait, what was Film Buffs again?
Film
Kiss
Buffs
Kiss
was
Bang
Kiss
Bang?
Kiss Bang Bang. Only thing with Film Buff is I didn't hear as much for the film as I did with, or even with Hayden. I felt like I felt a lot more passion with Andrew's argument and Brett's argument, even though the others proved why those two might not be considered as much of comedies as, they might not fit the criteria as well as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or Heathers. So this one is hard for me.
Tristan, literally, like I don't know how else to say it. It's literally a dark comedy.
I'm-
Just give it to Andrew.
yeah,
I think
I'm
his
gonna give this-
passion and his anger just shows it.
I gotta give this one to Andrew, even though I understand where you guys are coming from, just because I think he did give the best argument. Since Murder on the Orient Express was a murder mystery, pitch a modern-day remake of Clue. Who should direct it, and which actor should star in it? So, who wants to go first? This one's going to be a little bit of a longer one, but whoever wants to go first, you can go ahead.
Okay. Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll go first. I want to go first because mine's shitty.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
You've got up
So-
to 2.5 minutes.
Okay, so
Wait,
thing
wait.
is
Before
that-
we start, really quickly, can we just like put everyone's pitches in the chat just so we have like a list of the actors and stuff, so we don't like forget them?
Nah.
After we'll pause for a minute after everyone
anyways,
does their
my
initial.
argument is that the things that
Do we
I
have to
now-
cast all of the characters?
No,
in
you
Clue?
don't. Just who you think should be in it.
No, but I'm saying do we have the cast Colonel Mustard or whatever?
No, you don't. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay, ready, set, Hayden, go ahead.
All right. The thing is that I have not seen Clue at any means,
Neither have I.
but I can't really full a full argument on there. I mean, it's terrible, but I mean, I'll go with it anyway. So my director is Edgar Wright. Then I have
WTF?
It's mostly jokes. So it's Tommy Wiseau as Wadsworth, Julia Dempsey as Mrs. White, and then Michael Keaton and Christopher Lloyd. They keep their roles, and yeah, that's about it. Mine's total bullshit. Just kill me now.
I actually want that movie.
That sounds okay. I'd give that a solid 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so
Anytime, baby.
I actually I think that would be that's a good choice for director.
Okay.
Who wants to go second?
I'll go second then.
All right, cool. You've got 2 minutes.
So my director
I'm
is
just gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Okay.
You have fun with that.
a quirky independent artiste called Mr. Wes Anderson Clue movie. And the kind of, I figure that would kind of look the same way as the Grand Budapest Hotel. There'd be like this big, house, and then like everyone would go into that house, and it'd be all exquisite and beautiful. And it would star someone like Ralph Fiennes would be maybe the detective, and then Bill Murray would be in it, of course, and Jason Schwartzman, and Saoirse Ronan could be in it.
Heck
She's
yeah.
a big name right now.
Don't bribe the judge.
And
Is she gay?
Bryan Cranston and Greta Gerwig and Patricia Heaton from The Middle. I actually said the wrong name. I was going to say someone else.
Isn't her last name Hudson?
Oops. Okay, anyways. And
Wait,
Luke
like actually
Wilson,
her or
Wilson and Gene Hackman. All right, they're all these like people who work
But then
really
it's-
well. And Bryan Cranston. I don't know why I said Patricia Heaton. I meant Bryan Cranston. I don't know where that came
Yeah, I
from.
hate it when that happens.
Okay, so
Alright, I'm back. What did I miss?
anyways, I almost casted the main character in The Middle, and
Okay, go ahead, man. You've got like a minute
okay,
left.
sorry. Anyway, so yeah, this would be all of them, and they're locked in this. They're secluded in this house, and again, it would be that deadpan Wes Anderson dark comedy that we talked about earlier, and it would be one of them would end up being killed off, and they would all slowly have to figure out who it was. But again, under Wes Anderson's beautiful direction, he gets so many different artistic angles out of the house, out of the world. All these characters can deliver his lines so well, and if you could actually end up still building up tension in the entire story, have these characters work off one another, have all the characters be completely developed, which was the main problem Murder on the Orient Express. We give less of a crap about any of the characters. But here you could actually care about them, and they would actually have real personalities within walking wood sticks. Whenever Josh Gad ends up being the most interesting character in your movie, you know you're in trouble.
That was
So, haha.
Yeah. But anyway,
Next.
Time's up.
But again, interesting characters, interesting world. Yeah.
All right, cool. So, Andrew, you're next.
All right. Hold on. I'm gonna sit up for this. Okay,
Oh,
so-
you know he's serious when he's sitting up.
Yeah. I'm sure you all heard the phrase that if your reboot's the same as the original, why do a reboot at all? I took that very seriously when I was
Beauty and the
doing
Beast.
my pitch. So, my pitch is hold on. Set on a cruise ship traveling across the Atlantic Ocean. The group of characters in this version are in a similar setup and are confined to the bone in a house. The characters are surrounded by other passengers and need to converse and plot and complete the secret. The reboot would take advantage of the unique architecture of a boat and have a diversity of rooms for the characters to be in. Examples are the lower deck, a splash pad, and a kitchen. Now, let me talk about my cast because I'm actually pretty proud about this one. For Wadsworth, I have Andy Serkis. For Miss Peacock, I have Oprah. For Miss What, I have Kate Blanchett. For Professor Plum, I have Willem Dafoe. For Mr. Green, I have Jeff Goldblum. For Colonel Mustard, I have Dan Folger. For Miss Scarlet, I have Sarah Wright. For Yvette, I have Rachel House. She works a lot with Taika Waititi. And for Mr. Bobby, I have Adam Beach, more known for his role in
The Suicide Squad?
and Slipknot. Yes.
Slipknot, bitch.
Now, you might be wondering now who would be directing this
Taika
Clue adaptation.
Waititi.
And I wanted somebody different, so I wanted someone completely different. So I picked Yorgos Lanthimos, most known for his work on Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster.
Oh, clever.
Oh man, then the
Cough,
movie would
worst
suck.
movie of the year.
No, it wouldn't. The Lobster is great.
The
Then
lobster.
it would be so Greek.
It would
Oh,
be very
Lord.
Greek. Wait, would they eat Greek food in this movie?
Would
No,
one of them
they
put
would.
their hand
Well, we're gonna talk more about this when we get the rebuttals because I have an underlying message for this one. So
Okay.
yeah, I want to hear the last pitch first.
Also,
Okay.
before I go on, if Andrew wins this, should we just do Andrew versus
Hayden.
Hayden?
Yes, that's how it will
Yes,
work.
Okay,
we'll
okay.
do that.
Just making sure. But I heard Film Buff has a really, really good one. So, Film Buff, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Disco Kid.
Okay, this is like the only pitch I'm proud of. Okay, so here's the thing. The original is like almost an untouchable classic, right? It's hysterical, it's crazy, it's just ridiculous, it's bonkers. So I was like, how do you make it better? Get Taika Waititi to do a literal mockumentary style murder mystery in a house with Jermaine Clement as Wadsworth, Catherine Hahn as Mrs. White, Emma Thompson as Mrs. Peacock, Bill Hader as Professor Plum, Adam Devine, I guess, is Mr. Green, John Goodman's Colonel Mustard, Tessa Thompson is Miss Scarlet, Jennifer Lawrence is Yvette, and Tim Curry, of course, is Mr. Body and gets killed, right? Okay, so here's the thing. It's like basically what we do in the shadows, except not with, that structure thing. It's basically a bot or, like whoever invites the guy, the mockumentarian or documentarian, to the house to just document a really special dinner party. And it's just like throughout the entire time, it's through the perspective of just almost like not an uncut shot, but it just keeps going to interviews of the people and it just keeps cutting to the footage of what's been going on in the mystery. And you could have that weird, like, off-brand Taika Waititi humor that's just kind of dry, but also just the most weird thing you could ever think of, where it fits in the Clue world like the original, where things just kind of go crazy for no reason because why not, and it's ridiculous, and you can have that, like, silliness, but also that just, like, complete dry delivery that you would just not expect from a murder mystery movie. And again, it's just deviating from what the original did while also respecting it, especially with the Tim Curry thing. But it's just like it's something that I think he would totally fit in, especially after like what we do in the shadows. And that's my pitch.
All right.
Yeah, now that Tim Curry's disabled, he's great at playing old people. I just like to say something really quickly. Taika Waititi was my original choice for director, and because I liked his pitch, I'm actually dropping out of this round.
Me too. I can't pitch. Like I have a shitty pitch, and I won't even argue.
Wait, actually?
Well, actually, I want to make an argument for his. Is that allowed?
Yeah, because I was gonna say.
It's so funny because I was also gonna drop out, but I guess I'll stay in.
Just give me the point. Yeah, give him the point. Give him the point. Give him the point.
Yep, roll. Go get
Wait,
the
should I
point.
just give
You know what?
Film Buff the point, or
I gotta go to bed anyways, so you can give him the point because I gotta go.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give Film Buff the point, which means Film Buff versus Hayden in a speed round. All right.
Okay.
So.
So, I have a good question, Tristan. I think it's gonna be interesting to see their picks.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Quick round. You guys ready for it?
Yes.
What is the best direct-to-DVD Disney sequel?
Lion King 2.
Lion King 1.5.
That is Lion King 2, isn't it?
No.
Lion King
One and a
1.5
half
is
is
the
a
shit
There's
Number
Lion
one.
King 2, Simba's Return.
spin.
Oh wait, no, I want to change mine to answer to the Buzz Lightyear cartoon.
Ooh. Okay.
Wait, no, that was a TV show.
No.
that's a
There's
movie.
No, it was
Oh,
never.
You son of a bitch.
there is a direct to DVD movie for Buzz
God damn
Lightyear.
So I'm gonna argue for Buzz Lightyear.
Okay, so how this works is you're each going to have a minute. It's not going to be quite a speed round. It's going to be a little bit different. So you each have a minute to basically pitch, and then you have a minute to rebuttal. So who wants to go first for the pitch?
I say roll, cause
I thought we were given like 20 seconds.
Yeah, but
Not
that's
really normally-
that's speed round. This is an actual round, so it's going to be a little bit shorter, but you still get time to argue. So, Film Buff, you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right, go
Lion
ahead.
King 2 is totally original and expands upon the mythology of the original masterpiece, and that really not original, not hysterical, not actually expanding on the world of Toy Story, really creative and insane. Buzz Lightyear, just fucking give it to Hayden.
Buzz Lightyear Star Command is a very self-aware and kind of hilarious take look at Buzz Lightyear and his almost his side quest, while also bringing in clever visuals. It's funny humor, and also does not try to be a continuous story, but rather be its own thing, and actually can work out pretty decently as a spin-off series.
All right. Film Buff, rebuttal.
Yeah, give it to Hayden.
Actually,
Thank you.
okay.
Pretty good rebuttal.
So that means that we are into the speed round. It's Hayden versus Andrew. Andrew has 2 points, and Hayden, I guess, has 2 points now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come up with a question and ask them a question.
Pardon? Yeah, go ahead, because I don't have too many. So,
Okay.
we have
If
up to
any-
6 speed rounds, by the way. So,
Okay. If any film could personify into a person and you could have sex with it, what movie would it be?
Wait, what was that?
If
Question?
any movie could personify into a human and you could have sex with it, what movie would it be?
Akira.
Before Sunset.
Ooh.
ooh, okay.
Really?
Andrew said it first, so
I feel
he
like
gets.
Before Sunrise way more than Before Sunset.
Yeah.
he
Oh,
gets-
actually, I'll change to Before Sunrise.
Okay.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, because you didn't.
Yeah, because he changed to fucking Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
All right.
Yeah, I changed to Buzz
Set.
Lightyear, bitch.
Go.
Whoa.
Okay,
Language.
Akira as a movie, because I'm trying to fuck Akira, right? It has to be multi-purpose and have different things. Akira is sexy. It's also
What?
dark. It's also fucked up at times, but it's also stylistic. Akira can offer every single perspective of sex that you would want. The dirty to the smooth to the clean to the exciting
Time's
to
up.
the weird and fucked up. Akira will do all for you.
Okay.
Do you have a motorcycle race in the middle of it?
Dude, sex on a motorcycle? Come on, man.
Well, I haven't had sex with Akira, but I have had sex Before Sunrise. And it's a beautiful, poetic,
That's a
and
smooth
lovely
answer.
experience where you can see two characters and just like almost having a way of having a threesome in the end with Ethan Hawke and Julia Depley. Even though I'll probably have sex with Julia Depley before Ethan Hawke would. But it's so lovely. It's magical. It's
She's not
wonderful.
even hot.
All right. Time's up.
Okay, my
is a
rebuttal to
chipmunk
that is that
face.
your
What are you
sex is
talking
one-dimensional. It only offers one thing. Akira is multi-purpose. If I want sweet and meaningful, I'll go between the relationship between Red Motorcycle Boys and Hakuo. That's meaningful, and that would offer that sort of sex. Akira
Yeah,
also offers
yes,
different things.
definitely.
Okay,
Sex with a
Hayden.
motorcycle and a hot chick is definitely a lovely experience. But I would say you go over to the extreme with the sex. I would like the sex that's more tender and more sweetened, and that's what something you get Before Sunrise, and that's about it.
Oh,
Why did
okay.
anyone choose Dogtooth?
All right. So,
I haven't
ew,
seen
stop.
No, come on.
Dog, dude.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna go with Hayden on that. I liked that.
Hey!
I like that rebuttal. No, but speed round's not up to me. It's also up to Robert and
Hayden
Film
choose?
Buff. So Robert,
What
what?
did Hayden choose?
Before Sunrise.
Tetsuo
Oh.
Kanata. Tetsuo.
Yeah, Before Sunrise because they like the whole
Yeah,
scene where they like banging apart.
I like I liked how he said tender and
Hey, come on, man. Have you seen Akira? Those two bros, like, they were practically gay, man. That's as tender as it
You
gets.
never answered my question. Do you bang
They
on
were
a bike?
practically gay. That's his tender.
Okay, well, look, think about all the different locations in Akira. Think about all the different places where you
Oh,
could
man, I
bang,
wanna-
man.
Do you like
Motorcycles,
You
teleport?
can bang and like.
Dude, I
Grease.
love to fucking teleport during sex. That sounds like the craziest, coolest shit ever.
okay.
What if you teleport in your parents' bedroom?
Dude, I did that.
Well,
last
I would
week.
hope you're not there.
Not
Jeez.
last week.
Okay,
I don't know. You guys seem to be into threesomes. Maybe they're there. I don't know.
Robert, what? Who do you think won?
Okay.
Robert, who do you think won?
Oh, easily the guy who was like Akira, anime, sex, hentai, that guy.
What
Ooh,
about
it's a
you,
tie.
Film Buff?
Roll
Huh?
has
Oh, who do
Oh,
you say?
the Before Sunrise.
All right, that means 2 of us voted Before
Okay,
Sunrise.
like actually, like why the Before Sunrise?
Thank
Just
you.
Like, it's
Because he
just-
said
Akira's
tender.
chaotic and messy and
he's like,
loud, and
it's
I
got
don't think that
tone,
applies.
But it's
to
also
me.
beautiful.
Before
It's not
Sunrise
intimate.
will give you them
Intimate.
tender moments.
Not
Akira will give you
intimate.
loud.
One night
Okay,
stand.
okay, let's
Sunrise
move on.
is sweet
Let's
and
move on to the
so
next one.
Okay, so Before Sunrise is a screwdriver. Akira is a hammer and a screwdriver.
Yeah, you don't want to hammer during Jesus.
What? Well, some days you
What?
can. Some days you're gonna get bored of sweet and tender sex, and you're
What
gonna want
kind
to
of kinky
experiment.
shit?
And Before Sunrise is just gonna offer you the same type of sex. Akira will offer you different types of sex.
Yeah, Akira runs a motorbike over your dick.
No, I'd be driving the motorcycle. That's the whole point.
And
you're
Okay.
supposed to
crash and die.
Motorcycle?
No. Okay, they probably have auto drive in the future. But look, what if you have in a parking garage? Like, okay, you know what? No, I lost this round.
Yeah,
I'm
can
gonna
we get
do
on to the next
something
round?
Yeah, Film Buff, want to choose the next question?
What?
Yeah,
There's a
just go
question.
ahead, pick a question.
Oh, what's the best, like, who gave the best performance of, like, eating a food in a movie?
Rooney Mara and Ghost Story.
Oh yeah, that's so easy.
Poor
like,
Andrew.
Actually.
Wait, the best performance of eating a food?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna need to think about that for a second.
I've got an answer.
Let the Rooney Mara pie go first, please.
I can't, because I can't really say who you will be arguing against.
Yeah, you have
We'll
to
make
say.
an argument for your. Okay, fuck. Okay, now I need to find a movie where somebody's eating a food.
I can make a different question.
Speed Racer.
I can make a different question.
Brooklyn Prince and the ice cream in photograph.
There's like
one guy,
pancakes.
one
I
time
love
dog, yeah.
that's
weird.
seeing someone's eating food, and so beautiful.
Wait. Oh.
Wait.
Oh, I have an idea.
Say it.
Anthony Hopkins' Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
I hate you so much.
Oh. Okay. Okay, Hayden, you go first. 20 seconds.
Rooney Mara eating a pie for 5 minutes is some of the most strangest and absurd but yet wonderful moments you'll ever have. It's just eating the pie. It makes you want to eat the pie, and it's so delicious. Anthony Hopkins, when he starts eating his cannibalism, it makes you kind of feel disgusted as it feels more of a tender, wonderful moment.
What are you talking about? That
The
moment is
Hannibal
not
Lecter.
wonderful at all.
Hold on, can I
That
talk?
was depressing as shit.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Hannibal Lecter eating scene is the most compelling, dramatic eating of a food in life. If you look into the eyes of Hannibal and see the glee as he starts to begin to chomp on human flesh, it's the equivalent of seeing a child on Christmas Day opening a present, excited by the new toy that he got. It is the most joyous eating I've seen in a movie. Even though we were disgusted by it, you're also fascinated by it, which I think is very interesting.
I literally just watched Silence like a few minutes or a few
Okay.
hours ago.
Yeah, well, we had the choice between eating human flesh and eating some cherry pie. I probably would go to eat some cherry pie instead of eating human flesh like a crazy psychopath. Even though that scene in Silence of the Lambs is really great.
Okay, well, we're not talking about what food looks better. I have a story. When I saw Ghost Story at TIFF, I was in an audience, and I swear to God, everybody started to fall asleep and boo, which is strange for TIFF, when Rooney Mara just kept eating the pie. Everyone was like, what is this? Even though you might have found it enjoyable, a lot of people didn't. Some people found it boring, and even though it gave a great performance, Anthony Hopkins, Rooney Mara was emotionless during that scene, which was important to that part of the movie, but Anthony Hopkins showed plenty of different emotions when he was eating that fucking person, man.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Rooney Mara was not emotionless in that scene.
Yeah, she was. That
I
scene
was gonna
was
pick
true.
Brick from Anchorman eating the
called
banana,
voice
but okay.
acting. It's called not having tears spread down your face. It's her just eating pie, and then
I didn't criticize her for.
Yeah, then there's nothing
Okay,
wrong
hold
with
on,
that.
hold on. I didn't criticize her for showing an emotionless performance because I think Rooney Mara is quite good in a Ghost Story. However, we're boiling it down to one scene, and if you only showed people the two scenes of Anthony Hopkins eating a person from Silence of the Lambs or Rooney Mara eating the pie in a Ghost Story, separate everything else from the movie, people are going to be much more compelled by Anthony Hopkins in the Silence
But that's
of the
not
Lambs.
the
Andrew
question.
Yeah, Andrew wins that for sure, I believe.
Dude,
Wait, who was Andrew?
Fucked.
Andrew was
Sounds of the
Hannibal.
Lambs.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fuck it.
Okay. So, that
That was a
means
terrible
that
choice
it's
to make.
3-3, Andrew Hayden.
Is it my turn? Can I do a question?
It's my turn, but you're next.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we've got 6 questions, right? This next one is best Kevin Spacey performance.
Are you
American
real,
Beauty.
man? Hold on, are we actually doing this?
Yeah, American Beauty.
Beginners.
Guys, really?
Okay,
Come on.
okay,
Do we want to
fine.
associate ourselves with that?
Fine,
Guys, beginners. Someone choose beginners.
fine. I'll choose a different actor.
Oh, damn it.
Fun.
Best Michael Caine performance.
Who's Michael Caine?
I'm gonna say the Dark Knight trilogy.
Really?
Oh, that old dude. Okay.
If you don't
Wait.
pick
No, hold on. Who's Michael Caine?
Michael.
You know who Michael Caine is.
Hi
know who
guys, I'm
Michael
Michael
Caine is?
Caine.
What
I'm
the
talking
fuck?
like this.
Hold
You don't
on.
know how to breathe oxygen either.
No,
Michael.
I do know how to read it. Actually, that's kind of a rude statement.
Michael Caine is
Sorry.
the guy in the movie Youth.
And who?
Youth.
Oh, Michael Caine. Okay, got him. Shoot. Did you already say his pick or?
Yeah, Dark Knight trilogy.
That's 3 movies. Come on. That's
Hey,
okay.
I'm counting this one film, alright?
Just pick the Dark Knight.
Or pick Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
No, pick the Dark Knight.
No. Dark Knight Rises is probably a better pick, anyways.
Pick
Okay.
the Dark Knight. No, pick the Dark Knight.
Guys,
Look,
it's
Dark
kind of
Knight is
getting
great,
off
but-
track. Okay.
Look, I'm gonna argue for Dark Knight Rises.
Okay,
But
and
that doesn't have the
Shut
ruby
up.
and the liver.
dude, don't help him.
I'm gonna
Okay.
pick the Dark Knight.
Huh?
I'm gonna pick the Dark Knight.
All right.
Damn.
Well, you're both wrong because Cider House Rules exists. But go
I've
ahead.
never seen Cider
I
House.
haven't seen Silent House Rules, so.
It's really
Sorry,
good,
bud.
but it's also
Dark
really
Knight
sappy.
Rises contains the most real, emotional, and most physical and heart-wrenching performance that Michael Caine's ever pulled out as Alfred. You see the humanity within the character. You start to see the guilt he has aimed towards Bruce, and and as he starts to cry in that scene, you feel the sense of emotion. You still feel pain because it has been developed throughout all three movies, and it feels rewarded and earned and devastating in The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, my turn.
Yes.
The Dark Knight says the best Michael Caine performance because not only does he have some of the best parts in the movie, which says a lot when you're in a movie with Heath Ledger, but he's the emotional key to the movie. The movie does not work if Michael Caine does not work, and he gave, I think, the most compelling version of Alfred that we saw because he was actively involved in the story. He took part of it. It's easy to say that yes, because he cried at a funeral, that made him the best actor, but because he was an active part of the story and continued to show emotion throughout, I think it was the better performance.
That can also be said for The Dark Knight Rises. Alfred was a significant part to the Bruce's arc story, trying to contain himself to choose himself between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and thus making it the more compelling and for more realistic in performance. You start seeing that played within Bruce's arc, and you start seeing how he was damaged by everything that was around the world, and you start seeing the connection between disconnected, and it feels more compelling and it feels more devastating when it all is resolved.
Okay, but my argument against that is The Dark Knight Rises is a story about Batman forgiving himself. In order to do that, the movie focuses more on him than his relationship with Alfred. In The Dark Knight, we see Alfred and Bruce go through a lot together. With the death of Rachel, we get to see that foundation, how Batman is when he's at a versatile and emotional state, and how Alfred deals with that. That gives a wider range of emotion. Also, the Ruby monologue is key to the entire movie and sums up Alfred's entire interpretation of Batman in less than 5 minutes. And I think it's more effective than his interpretation of Batman in all of The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem, man.
I'm gonna go with Andrew for this. I think the Ruby argument was really good.
Yep. Can we just have this end and Andrew won?
What?
Well, we've got like one more question. So.
All right.
I got a good one.
Okay, go ahead.
Explain Geostorm if it was good, like director, actors, that kind of stuff.
Oh, that would be tough to really do it in like a short amount of time.
Well, yeah, make it shorter.
Wait, I have a better question actually.
Who should
Yeah.
direct?
Okay, better director for Geostorm. How about that?
No.
What?
Can
No,
I
no,
move
can we
my
do-
no.
yours?
Question. I want to hear Roll's question.
With me? Oh, okay. Pitch a Geostorm cinematic universe with another cinematic universe.
Oh, okay. Geostorm and Pacific Rim.
Geostorm with Marvel, I guess.
Actually, can I change my answer?
Yeah.
Geostorm and Airplane.
No one chose Kong? Okay.
Oh, I chose Kong. I'll choose Kong.
Geostorm and Moonlight.
Yeah,
So, I think we can all agree that Geostorm is a hot piece of trash, and it was a mess from its first interpretation. However, I think the setup is quite comedic. The fact that there's people who are creating all these natural disasters. I think the comedic tone of that will work well with Airplane. Imagine the comedy of Airplane mixed with the weather of Geostorm. It'd be funny to see those characters that we know and love dealing with the threat of being knocked out of the sky by different natural disasters and how they deal with it by taking it a comedic route. It takes away the seriousness that made Geostorm bad.
I think you can also find a way that you can also put the Geostorm is a perfect way that you can also survive a monster film. Just having just Khan just coming out of nowhere and just even though he'll be destroyed by the rain, and you can also see almost having a way of also being of a terrorist attack. I don't even know what I'm even saying here. But you can also have it in a way as almost a monster attack within another huge storm. I don't know.
Okay, but the problem with Geostorm is that the action and stuff wouldn't work, and adding monsters would not make it better. It would still be an action movie, and I think that's the problem with Geostorm. They took it in an action route. Airplane changes the tone of Geostorm, makes it fit into a better story, and adds to the universe. We've already seen in the Airplane cinematic universe that they do know how to go to space, so logically, it makes sense that they can incorporate characters into the story instead of just using Geostorm as a backdrop for more fighting between characters.
Well, I'm done.
All right, yeah, I think Andrew won that.
Andrew was the overall winner.
Which means Andrew won the match, which was you gave some really great arguments in there.
You made better arguments than I could ever have. Because you're more passionate than I am.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you both gave really great arguments
you were
all
good, man.
throughout. Yeah, and just shout out to Brett who went to bed, and you guys can all plug your information now. So,
Yeah.
Film Buff?
At FilmBuff007 on Letterboxd and Instagram.
Yeah, I don't have anything to plug.
You can definitely follow me on Hey Batman Movies on Instagram, Hey Mia12 on Twitter, and Hayden Elmore on Letterboxd. So
I'm Robert Burke on Letterboxd, The Clever Critics on YouTube, and That Gay Guy on MySpace.
And you can follow this channel and tune in
what's
next
this channel
time.
called? I haven't
Oh,
subscribed to it yet.
Movies Music Mania.
Okay.
So yeah, you can check out our next episode. We are going to be doing a film duel pretty soon, and definitely catch our best of the year film duel. Which
Yeah, I'll come back.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys want, but
I want to do that.
I'm
come back.
thinking
I'll
of
come back for
getting
that one.
5 people for that one to have like a really epic
Yeah,
match.
we'll do that. I'll be
But
part of
it has to be structured and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll DM you guys and see what we can do for that one.
Me too.
that. All right.
And also a Star Wars one if you guys want.
Ooh.
Yes.
So yeah, tune in to our next episode, and thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.